Tucked between the Black Sea and the towering Caucasus Mountains, Georgia sits right at the crossroads of continents, where East meets West and cultures blend in ways that feel almost surreal. For centuries, this small nation has absorbed influences from empires on all sides, yet somehow it has never lost its identity. And maybe that's what makes Georgia so fascinating. It doesn't quite fit anywhere, and that's exactly the point. Even the language here feels like a mystery. Georgian isn't related to Russian, Turkish, or any of its neighbors. It belongs to its own unique language family, and it comes with its own beautifully curved alphabet, one of only a handful of original writing systems still in use today. Walking through the streets, the signs almost look like art, and in many ways, they are. A reflection of a culture that has evolved on its own path for thousands of years. Georgia's identity is deeply tied to its food. Meals here are not rushed, they're experiences. Dishes like khachapuri, a warm bread filled with cheese, or khinkali, delicate dumplings filled with spiced broth, are more than just meals. They're traditions passed down through generations. Every region has its own flavors, its own recipes, and its own story to tell. But to truly understand Georgia, you have to see it in motion. Traditional dance here is more than performance, it's storytelling brought to life. Male dancers move with explosive energy, spinning, leaping, and even gliding across the floor on their toes with incredible control. At the same time, female dancers appear to float effortlessly, their movements soft, graceful, and almost weightless. Each dance tells a different story, of love, of conflict, of pride and tradition. Some are powerful and dramatic, others delicate and poetic. That deep sense of identity didn't come easily. Georgia has spent centuries caught between powerful empires, the Persians, the Ottomans, the Russians, all leaving their mark. There were moments of independence, followed by long periods of occupation, including life under the Soviet Union. And yet through it all, Georgia endured. Its traditions, its language, its spirit, they survived. And today, they define a country that refuses to be forgotten. But Georgia's story isn't just written in history books, it's carved into its landscapes. In just a few hours, you can travel from snow-covered peaks to lush green valleys, from dry, desert-like plains to a humid coastline along the Black Sea. Few countries pack this much geographical diversity into such a small space. It's a place where every road feels like a journey into a completely different world. And rising above many of these landscapes are Georgia's most iconic landmarks, its churches and monasteries. Perched on mountaintops, carved into cliffs, or standing quietly in remote valleys, they speak to the country's deep spiritual roots. One of the most breathtaking is Gergeti Trinity Church, standing high above the clouds with the Caucasus Mountains behind it. It's the kind of place that feels almost unreal. But Georgia isn't frozen in time. Its capital, Tbilisi, is a city of contrasts, where ancient streets meet bold modern design. You'll find centuries-old churches just steps away from glass bridges and contemporary art spaces. It's chaotic, creative, and constantly evolving, a perfect reflection of the country itself. And perhaps the most unforgettable part of Georgia isn't something you can photograph, it's the people. There's a saying here, a guest is a gift from God. Hospitality isn't just a custom, it's a way of life. Visitors are welcomed like family, often with more food and wine than they could ever expect. And once you experience it, you begin to understand, Georgia isn't just a place you visit, it's a place you feel. So where exactly should you go in this incredible country? Let's explore. Our journey begins in the heart of the capital, Tbilisi, specifically in the district of Abanotubani. Legend has it, in the 5th century, King Vakhtang Gorgasali was hunting in these forests when his falcon fell into a hot spring. Impressed by the healing waters, he ordered a city to be built on the spot. The name Tbilisi literally means warm place. Today you can see the results of that discovery in the iconic brick domes that rise from the ground like earthy bubbles. These are the famous sulfur baths. Walking through these streets, the air carries a distinct scent of minerals, a reminder that the Earth's natural energy is still flowing right beneath the cobblestones. You can visit the Orbigliani bathhouse, famous for its stunning blue mosaic facade that looks like something out of Samarkand, or opt for the more traditional, historic underground vaults. Inside, the experience is a ritual, soaking in the hot, naturally silken water, followed by a vigorous kisa, or traditional scrub down. It's the ultimate way to wash away the jet lag. But the Old Town is more than just the baths. It is a labyrinth of leaning wooden houses with intricate balconies draped in vines. Look up and you'll see the Nadikala fortress keeping watch over the city. This neighborhood is a perfect metaphor for Georgia itself. It's old, it's vibrant, and it's built on a foundation that has been keeping people warm for over 1,500 years. Whether you're exploring the narrow alleys or sitting by the Legvat Cave waterfall, just steps from the bathhouses, Tbilisi's Old Town feels like the living, breathing soul of the Caucasus. Just 20 minutes north of the modern capital lies Mtskheta, the ancient capital and the spiritual heart of the nation. This is where Christianity was declared the state religion in 327 AD, making Georgia one of the oldest Christian nations on earth. The skyline here is dominated by the Svetitskaveli Cathedral, a masterpiece of early Middle Ages architecture. This isn't just a church, it's a sacred treasury. According to tradition, the seamless robe of Jesus Christ is buried beneath the cathedral, brought here by a local Jew who was present at the crucifixion. The walls inside are soaring and covered in frescoes that depict everything from the zodiac to the life of the monarchs. After exploring the cathedral, take a short drive up the hill to Ushguli Monastery. Standing on this windy ridge, you'll see why this spot was chosen for a 6th century church. From here, you get the most spectacular view in the region, the confluence of the Mtkvari and Aragvi rivers. You can clearly see the two different colors of water meeting and flowing together without mixing for several meters. It's a place of profound peace that has served as a beacon for pilgrims and travelers for nearly 2 millennia. To reach the high mountains, we take the Georgian Military Highway. This isn't just a road, it's an engineering marvel that snakes through the clouds. Our first major stop is the Jin Valley Reservoir, a massive man-made lake with water so turquoise it looks painted. Sitting on its banks is the Ananuri Fortress, a 17th century castle complex that once belonged to the Dukes of Aragui. The stone carvings on the facade of its main church are some of the most intricate in the country, featuring lions, grapes, and crosses. As the road climbs higher toward the Jvari Pass, you'll see the Russia-Georgia Friendship Monument, a massive concrete mural perched on the edge of a sheer cliff. The views here are dizzying, showcasing the raw power of the Caucasus and the ancient route that has connected Europe and Asia for centuries. If there's one image that defines Georgia, it is the Gergeti Trinity Church. Perched on a lonely ridge at 2,170 meters, this 14th century stone church stands against the massive, icy backdrop of Mount Kazbek. It is a sight that feels almost impossible, as if the church was placed there by a divine hand to guard the mountain pass. For those who love the outdoors, the hike from the town of Stetatsminda is a must. It's a steep 2-hour climb through alpine meadows and pine forests, but as you reach the ridge and the church finally comes into view, the exhaustion vanishes. Mount Kazbek, an extinct volcano rising to over 5,000 meters, looms over the church like a silent giant. Inside the church, the atmosphere is heavy with the scent of beeswax and the weight of history. During times of invasion, the most precious relics from Tbilisi and Mtskheta were carried up here to be protected by the mountains. There's no electricity, only the light of the sun hitting the ancient icons. But the true magic is the Kazbek Glacier view. If you continue hiking past the church toward the Gergeti Glacier, you'll find yourself in a landscape of pure rock and ice. This is the mountain where, according to Greek myth, Prometheus was chained for stealing fire. Standing here with the wind whipping across the ridge and the clouds swirling around the peaks, you feel the true scale of the Caucasus. It's not just a photo opportunity, it's a moment of absolute clarity at the edge of the world. Welcome to Sighnaghi, a town that feels like a slice of Tuscany dropped into the heart of the Caucasus. Known as the City of Love, it is famous for its 18th century defensive wall, which is one of the longest in the world. You can walk along the ancient stone ramparts and climb the watchtowers, which were built to protect the region from invaders. From the top of the wall, the Alizani Valley spreads out below you like a vast green carpet, stretching all the way to the snow-capped wall of the Greater Caucasus on the horizon. The town itself is a maze of cobblestone streets and red-tiled roofs. It's the perfect place to slow down, explore the local carpet-weaving shops, and enjoy the silence of a town that has stood guard over the valley for centuries. David Gareja is a massive cave monastery complex located in the semi-desert borderlands. The geology here is breathtaking. Stripes of red and yellow minerals create rainbow mountains that ripple across the horizon. Founded in the 6th century, the Lavra Monastery is the heart of the complex, where monks still live today. But the real adventure is hiking up to the Udobno Caves. Here you'll find hundreds of cells and chapels carved directly into the sandstone cliffs. These caves are famous for their ancient frescoes, which have survived for over 1,000 years despite the harsh desert sun. Walking along the ridge, you're standing right on the border with Azerbaijan. The silence is absolute, and the contrast between the colorful, arid hills and the ancient, spiritual rock dwellings makes David Gareja one of the most surreal and hauntingly beautiful places in all of Georgia. In the south of Georgia lies Rabati Castle, a stone and gold fortress that serves as a visual history book of the Silk Road. Originally built in the 9th century, this complex was destroyed and rebuilt by Georgians, Ottomans, and Persians alike. The result? a breathtaking fusion of styles. Within its massive stone walls, you'll find a gold-domed mosque, an Orthodox church with a bell tower, a synagogue, and a Catholic cathedral, all standing just meters apart. This isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a monument to the religious and cultural tolerance that has defined this crossroads for centuries. Explore the maze of defensive towers, the manicured gardens, and the royal palace. From the highest turret, you can look out over the city of Akhaltsikhe and see the desert-like hills of the Armenian border. It is, without a doubt, one of the most photographable sites in the entire Caucasus. Long before Georgia was a trekking destination, it was a destination for healing. Welcome to Borjomi, a town tucked into a deep forested gorge that became the favorite summer retreat of the Russian imperial family, the Romanovs. The reason? The water. Borjomi is world famous for its naturally carbonated volcanic mineral water, which bubbles up from springs deep underground. In the center of town lies the Central Park, a long, winding garden where you can walk to the Blue Palace and find the original spring house. Here you can fill your own bottle with warm, salty, and slightly sulfurous water directly from the source. It's an acquired taste, but Georgians swear by its ability to cure everything from a headache to a broken heart. But Borjomi is more than just a spa town. It is the gateway to the Borjomi-Ushguli National Park, one of the largest protected wilderness areas in Europe. For those who want more than a leisurely stroll, the park offers over 400 square kilometers of ancient forests and alpine meadows. You can take a cable car from the park entrance up to a plateau for a panoramic view of the town, or hike deeper into the woods to find hidden thermal sulfur pools, natural stone basins where you can soak in 32-degree water while surrounded by snow or autumn leaves. Whether you're here to hike the dense pine trails or simply to enjoy the Belle Epoque architecture of the old sanatoriums, Borjomi offers a different pace of life. It's a place to breathe, to heal, and to drink from the earth itself. In a country defined by rugged mountains and ancient wars, Borjomi is Georgia's tranquil green sanctuary. Kutaisi is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, once the capital of the legendary kingdom of Colchis. Today, it's a city of white stone and vibrant energy. Start your visit at the Baghrati Cathedral, a masterpiece of medieval architecture that sits on a hill overlooking the Rioni River. Below, the city's heart beats at the Kutaisi Central Market, a sensory explosion where vendors sell stacks of churchkela, strings of dried persimmons, and heaps of aromatic spices. Just a short drive away is the Gergeti Monastery, a UNESCO site that was once the New Athos and New Jerusalem of the East. Its walls are covered in some of the most vibrant mosaics in the Orthodox world. Kutaisi is the perfect blend of ancient legend and modern Georgian warmth, serving as the essential base for exploring the wonders of the western regions. If you thought Georgia's beauty was limited to its surface, Prometheus Cave will change your mind. Located just outside Kutaisi, this is the largest cave in the country and a true subterranean cathedral. Discovered in 1984, the cave features 22 immense halls, 6 of which are open to the public along a 1.4-kilometer walking path. As you descend into the earth, you are greeted by a psychedelic world of stalactites, stalagmites, and petrified waterfalls. The cave is masterfully illuminated with colorful LED lights that highlight the intricate textures of the limestone, accompanied by soft classical music that echoes through the chambers. It feels less like a cave and more like an alien landscape or a scene from a high fantasy film. The history here is as deep as the caverns. Local legend says that Prometheus, the titan who stole fire from the gods, was chained to the mountains nearby, and his groans can still be heard in the wind whistling through these tunnels. You'll walk through the Hall of Love and the Medea Hall, eventually reaching the deepest point of the tour. But the highlight is the exit. Instead of walking back out the way you came, you can board a small boat on an underground river. You'll glide through a narrow, dark tunnel for several hundred meters before suddenly emerging into the bright sunlight and the lush green forest of the Imereti region. The transition from the silent, cool darkness of the underworld to the vibrant life of the Georgian jungle is a moment you'll never forget. It's a reminder that in Georgia, even the ground beneath your feet holds secrets waiting to be explored. For a look at Georgia's industrial soul, we head to Chiatura. Tucked into a narrow limestone gorge, this town was once a thriving manganese mining hub during the Soviet era. Because the cliffs are so steep, engineers built a network of cable cars in 1954 to transport miners from the town floor to the mines above. These aging, rusted metal boxes became known as the flying coffins. While many of the original vintage cars have recently been replaced by a sleek modern system, the town remains a living museum of Soviet brutalist architecture. The dramatic contrast between the crumbling concrete buildings and the towering white cliffs make Chiatura a favorite for photographers and urban explorers. It's a gritty, fascinating glimpse into a different chapter of Georgian history, one built on iron, cables, and incredible engineering bravery. Standing alone in the middle of a river valley is the Akhaltsikhe Pillar, a 40-meter-high natural limestone monolith that looks like a finger pointing toward heaven. Perched on the very top, seemingly defying gravity, is a tiny church and a hermitage. For centuries, the pillar was a mystery, until climbers finally reached the top in 1944 and found the ruins of an 8th century chapel. For over 20 years, a lone monk named Father Maxime lived on top of the pillar, seeking total isolation and spiritual clarity. He would have his food hoisted up by a pulley system, rarely descending to the ground. Today, visitors aren't allowed to climb the stairway to heaven, but standing at the base and looking up at the sheer scale of the pillar is a humbling experience. It is perhaps the most solitary religious site on the planet. Welcome to Sighnaghi, the most remote and mysterious region of the Caucasus. The gateway to this world is Mestia, a town that looks like a fortress out of a fairy tale. Mestia is famous for its unique swan towers, stone defensive structures built between the 9th and 12th centuries. These weren't just for show, they were built to protect families from invaders, avalanches, and even blood feuds between neighbors. The Svan people themselves are a distinct ethnic group with their own unwritten language and a fierce sense of independence. Because they were so isolated by the high peaks, Sighnaghi became the treasury of Georgia. During times of war, the nation's gold and icons were sent here for safekeeping. Today, Mestia is a hub for adventure. You can spend your morning exploring the Sighnaghi Museum of History and Ethnography, which houses some of the most beautiful medieval art in the world, and your afternoon taking a ski lift up to Mount Hatzvali. From the top, you get an unobstructed view of the Queen of the Caucasus, Mount Ushba, a jagged, double-peaked mountain that is considered one of the most difficult climbs in the world. The atmosphere in Mestia is thick with history. At night, the stone towers are illuminated, casting long shadows over the cobblestone streets. You'll hear the sounds of polyphonic singing drifting from the local guest houses and smell the aroma of kubdari, a traditional swan meat pie seasoned with wild mountain herbs. Mestia is where the wild spirit of Georgia is most palpable. It's a place where the mountains don't just surround you, they define everything about how people live, speak, and survive. Ushguli isn't just a village, it's a time machine. Located at 2,200 meters at the foot of the massive Chiatura glacier, it is the highest permanently inhabited settlement in Europe. Reaching it requires a bumpy 3-hour 4x4 journey through narrow mountain passes, but the reward is worth it. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a collection of 4 ancient hamlets where life has changed little in centuries. Cows and pigs roam the mud and stone streets, and over 200 medieval towers stand guard against the snow. There is a profound sense of silence here, broken only by the sound of the Inguri River and the wind off the glacier. Whether you're hiking to the base of the mountain or drinking tea with a local family, Ushguli feels like the absolute edge of the civilized world. It is the raw, beating heart of the Caucasus. From the snow-capped peaks of Sighnaghi, we drop down to the subtropical humidity of the Black Sea coast. Welcome to Batumi, the pearl of the Black Sea. If Tbilisi is the soul of Georgia, Batumi is its playground. This city is a surreal mix of 19th century European architecture and futuristic skyscrapers that look like they were plucked from a sci-fi movie. The centerpiece of the city is the Batumi Boulevard, a 7-kilometer seaside promenade lined with palm trees, dancing fountains, and modern art installations. The most famous is the Ali and Nino statue, 2 giant metal figures that slowly move towards each other, merge into one, and then pass through each other every 10 minutes, representing a tragic love story between a Georgian princess and an Azerbaijani boy. Batumi is also a city of eccentric architecture. You'll see a skyscraper with a miniature Ferris wheel built into its side and a tower dedicated to the Georgian alphabet. But for a break from the neon, head to the Batumi Botanical Garden. Located on a cliff called the Green Cape, it's one of the most diverse gardens in the world, where you can walk through a Japanese garden, a Himalayan forest, and a Mediterranean citrus grove all in one afternoon. Of course, you can't leave without eating. This is the home of the Ajari Khachapuri, the famous boat-shaped bread filled with melted cheese and topped with a raw egg and a pat of butter. It is the ultimate comfort food and a delicious metaphor for the city itself, bold, indulgent, and completely unique. Batumi is a city that refuses to be boring, blending the relaxation of a beach resort with the energy of a global metropolis. We've traveled from the 8,000-year-old traditions of the East to the futuristic skylines of the West. We've climbed to the highest villages in Europe and boated through emerald canyons. So why is Georgia still so underrated? Perhaps it's because it's a country that refuses to be just one thing. It is ancient but innovative, rugged but hospitable, humble but breathtakingly beautiful. Whether you come for the polyphonic songs, the mountain peaks, or the legendary hospitality of the Supra, Georgia has a way of getting under your skin. It changes you. As the locals say, a guest is a gift from God, and after spending 30 minutes exploring this hidden gem, you'll realize that the true gift is the country itself. Thank you for joining us on this journey across the 4 corners of Georgia. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us which of these 16 places are you visiting first.